I'm going to reveal the 8 cheat codes that got me 872,000 subscribers on YouTube. These are going to be the absolute most important things. And these are also going to be things that you almost never hear about. So let's go ahead and jump in right now. Just in case you don't know who I am or you don't believe me that I have that many subscribers, this is my main channel right here. This is the dashboard, 872,000 subs. And let's start with number 1, which is make controversial content when you're small. So when you're a small channel, you have a lot of disadvantages, right? For one, you don't have social proof. So people click onto your channel and they're basically thinking, wow, this guy only has, 100 subscribers or whatever. Why should I watch his content? And so you'll notice that, your average view duration, for instance, is going to be much lower just simply because of the fact that you don't have as many subscribers. So therefore you don't have social proof. Okay. So you do have some disadvantages as a small channel, but as a small channel, you also have advantages. There's never a situation that you could be in where you don't have any advantages. And let's talk about some of these advantages, right? So one of them is you can actually get away with making controversial content when you're small. Why? Because almost nobody is going to punch down. This is a very common occurrence in business. It's even a saying, which is never punch down. So if someone significantly smaller than you makes content about you, you're not gonna punch down on that content. Almost never, right? So that's why you can make controversial content and you're probably not going to get in trouble. And even YouTube themselves, right? So there's certain content where you might get in trouble on YouTube. And if you're a small channel, they're probably just not going to notice you. Okay. So they can't really filter all the channels and they can't have people watch all the channels. And so chances are, if you're a small channel, you can get away with making controversial content without getting demonetized or without getting shadow banned or anything like that. Okay. And generally speaking, no one is going to sue a tiny channel with no money. Now, I want to say one thing. This is not legal advice. I'm sure there's a 1 in a million chance that you could actually get sued. So make sure that you have the proper business structure and insurances, etc. But with that being said, like 99.999% of the time, no one is going to sue a tiny channel with no money. Now, this is especially true if when you're criticizing people, you criticize their ideas and you don't attack them personally, right? So criticizing their ideas instead of their character means there's, instead of 99.9%, it's nearly 100% chance that you're not going to get sued, right? So this is actually a hidden advantage of being small. And once you're big and you're making lots of money, you can't really afford to do this because getting sued is a guarantee at that point. Okay. It's not really a guarantee, but you get to a certain level where you have enough money and you have enough people watching you, you're like a public figure, you're going to get sued for not doing anything wrong at all. People will just sue you for absolutely no reason whatsoever. So chances are, if you say something about somebody, there's a very good chance you're going to get sued when you're really big, right? So that's why you don't see that many big channels doing that. But when you're small, you can just take more risks and it's not a big deal. So, just as an example, I made this right here. This is something it's private now, but I made both of these videos. This is the financial guru tier list where I talked about all these different, make money online gurus, and I ranked which ones I thought were good and which ones were bad. And you can see it got 118,000 views, which, by the way, at the time I made that was phenomenal. That was a ton of views. Same thing with the investing guru tier list. I talked about a bunch of these different investing gurus that, talk about investing all the time. And you can see it got 12,000. And this was at a time where I wasn't hardly getting any views at all. And this ended up getting 118 and 12,000 views. So you can see that I made controversial content where, I didn't exactly have the best things to say about every single one of these people. Some of them I, didn't say very nice things at all about them. I totally disagreed with their ideas. But, would I make this content today? Probably not, because I don't want to get sued. Now, another example of this is Meet Kevin. So if you've watched Meet Kevin's channel, he made a bunch of controversial content about Grant Cardone. He basically, exposed, quote unquote, Grant Cardone many, many times. He talked about, his business dealings that he thought were possibly unethical or, wasn't exactly what Grant Cardone was making it out to be. And he exposed him many times, and that got him a ton of views. It got him a ton of followers at that time. And this was at a time where his channel was relatively small. And so that worked out really, really well for Meet Kevin. And so you've seen a lot of different channels do this. Meet Kevin isn't the only one. Many, many channels do this where they make controversial content when they're small, and then they switch to normal content once they get big and they get a following. Now, one thing I will say, be careful about making too much controversial content, because you do not want to attract an audience of haters. And these are people who are just lame and they think everything is a scam, and they probably spend all their time surfing Reddit and thinking that they're right about everything, when in reality they know almost nothing about life. So you don't want to attract a bunch of haters, because you're never going to be able to sell anything to these people, because they think everything is a scam and everyone's a scammer. So you don't want to attract a bunch of those people. So you want to do it tastefully, and you don't want to make all of your content about it. Maybe one out of every 4 or 5 videos, something like that should be fine. And that's kind of this second point, is don't become a hater channel. Don't overdo the drama. I think at some point, Meet Kevin kind of realized that he overdid it, and you could tell that he really kind of stopped doing it so much, because he was making video after video after video on Grant Cardone, and he did get sued by Grant Cardone, and he got in some legal issues with him. So you don't want to. It's important to find a balance, guys. Right? Very important to do that. Now, trolls, by the way, love drama, haters, trolls, whatever. So you don't want your entire channel to be negative, because honestly, if your entire channel is negative, it's just entertainment at the end of the day. And you're also not actually teaching anything to anybody, right? So you're not actually providing any value to the market. Another one, use humor, but don't overdo it. So remember, we are making educational content. If you've watched my other videos, I say this many times, make educational content, but add a little bit of entertainment, a little bit of humor to it. Okay, so just an example of this is I had a video where I talked about like the most useless degrees, and one of them was certain types of language degrees. And I made a caveat in the video where I said something along the lines of, there are certain languages out there that are worth learning, like Mandarin, Russian, Dothraki, or Arabic, blah, 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 something like that. And so this was like a little piece of like dry comedy. Dothraki, in case you don't recognize that, that's from Game of Thrones. It's a language in Game of Thrones. And a lot of people really liked that comment, right? Like I had tons and tons of comments about that, and they had thousands of likes. Okay. So, these right here. So you can add a little bit of comedy to your videos, just your own sense of, humor, right? Make sure it's your own sense of humor. I have kind of a dry, sarcastic sense of humor, so I add those to my videos sometimes. And this can really make you stand out, right? It can really make people laugh. It comes out of nowhere. They weren't expecting it because it's educational content. And it also gets people to comment and boost your video, which boosts your engagement, right? So this is something you can do on YouTube, or you can do it on many other platforms as well, whatever content creation you're making with your personal brand. And don't overdo the humor, or you'll just become an entertainment channel, basically a dancing clown. But just doing it once in a while, just a little bit, especially towards the beginning of the video, so that people, it kind of hooks them a little bit. That can be really, really good. And a lot of my best performing videos did have a little bit of humor at the beginning of the video. Number 4, throw rocks at common enemies. Guys, this is super, super powerful. So this isn't attacking other creators or other well-known people like in the first example. This is attacking the establishment. Okay, so the establishment. Now you might be asking, what exactly is the establishment? Well, in one context, you could say it's the government, the people in power. Or in the context of your niche, it's basically just the people that are the most powerful in your niche, the people that decide what the status quo is in your niche, the people that are causing a lot of pain and discomfort to people in your niche. So throwing rocks at a common enemy can be an incredibly powerful tactic to get people to kind of believe you and take your advice. And you can use this tactic to connect with your audience by pointing out common frustrations and positioning yourself as the solution. So I'm going to give you an example here in a second, but I really like this quote from Russell Brunson. People will do anything for those who encourage their dreams and help them throw rocks at their enemies. This is a phenomenal quote. And an example of how I did this is when I was talking about college degrees, when I first started my channel, which my main channel, by the way, helps people get jobs. But when I was talking about college degrees when I started my main channel, the main thing that I did, guys, is I would basically talk about how a lot of college degrees are either completely useless, things like gender studies, for instance. They're just an absolute waste of money. Then there's some college degrees that are good in some cases, but not in every case. So it's kind of on a case-by-case basis. There's a lot of business degrees that are like that. And then there's some degrees that are just really good, like engineering degrees, healthcare degrees, that kind of thing. And I would throw rocks at the common enemy, which was the education system and the people in power who are controlling the education system. So colleges, for one, also the student loan debt servicing companies that literally make billions of dollars off of us getting deep into student loan debt, and just the society in general saying that you have to go to college and spend $100,000 on a college degree just to have a chance to get a decent job, which is just not true. And even if it was true, it's absolutely ridiculous, right? Especially in the US, right? Every other country, there's more affordable options, but in the US, it just seems like college is shoved down our throats, right? And so I threw rocks at that common enemy that we all had. I mean, even people who choose to go to college, most of them report that, they are not happy with the amount of money they had to pay. So even people who choose to go to college, this is a common enemy. So like 80-90% of people agree with me on this, that college is either not worth it, or many college degrees are not worth it, or it's totally overpriced and the system needs to be overhauled, right? So I threw rocks at common enemies. A lot of people agreed with this. And another thing I'll say about this is you want to say things, and I'm actually even going to type this out because it's really important. You want to say things that everyone is thinking, but very few have said out loud. Okay? Say things that everyone is thinking, but very few have had the courage to say out loud. That's going to be incredibly powerful. Number 5, show proof right away. And when I say right away, I mean in the first 5 to 10 seconds of your video, show some kind of proof that you're legit. Because there's so many people making videos out there and they just don't know what the hell they're talking about. There's like people that don't make any money talking about how to get clients, for instance, like lots of them out there. And so you need to show proof right away that you're legit. Or if you aren't legit, if you aren't somebody who's, knows how to get clients really well, just be honest about it. Just be like, hey, I just got my first client and here's how I did it, right? Or I've gotten 5 clients in the last month. I'm brand new at this, but let me share with you how I did it, right? Either way, show proof that what you're saying is genuine and authentic, and do it in the first 5 to 10 seconds of the video, because that's how you're going to hook people. Because especially in the make money online niche, there's just low trust. Like a lot of people don't trust the people that make content in this niche, and for good reason, because there's a lot of people out there that just try to fake it before they make it, or they're trying to teach before they actually know how to do it, right? They teach before they do. And, if you're making a video about how to make money on Twitter, flash some screenshots of your earnings right away. That's just an example. As a small channel, people don't believe you yet, and they need proof right at the start that you're legit. And this helps keep people from clicking away. Very, very important. Now, this is another way you can do it. You can either show proof or social proof. This is an example of me showing social proof right here, which is people clicking on, people commenting on my channel. So I was actually talking about how some people were hating on my channel. And then I also said another thing about how some people wanted me to make this video. So I showed some screenshots of people hating on the channel. And then I also showed some screenshots of people wanting to make a video. So this kind of goes back to the drama point. It's a little bit of drama. And then this one here was somebody, it's covered up right now for some reason, but it was somebody asking me to make this particular video, right? So that's social proof that somebody wanted me to make the video, which, by the way, when I made this video, I believe my channel was only like a couple hundred subs, right? And this video blew up to millions of views. Number 6, steal like an artist. If you copy a big YouTuber style, you'll just come across as a cheap version of them. And this is what almost everybody does. Instead, a really good idea is to learn from small YouTubers who are crushing it. If you're going to copy anyone, you should copy small YouTubers. But honestly, you really shouldn't copy anyone. You should copy many, right? So instead of taking, copying Casey Neistat or Peter McKinnon or Ali Abdaal, there's so many little, Casey Neistat, Peter McKinnon, and Ali Abdaal clones out there. What you should do is steal one thing from like 20 different channels. That's what you should do instead. And then you're going to make something completely original. If you steal one thing that you like from 20 different channels, you're going to make something completely original. So you like a thumbnail style of a certain channel, steal that from them. But don't steal anything else. You like how a certain channel does their edits, steal that from them. You like how one channel has a camera above them so that you can see their hands while they draw on a whiteboard? Great, steal that from them. You like how another channel that you like their background, for instance, maybe they have a gray background that you really like, great, steal that from them. But steal like one thing from 20 different channels, and then you're going to have a completely original channel. You can take a few ideas, but don't imitate their entire style. It's cringe and it never works. There's so many people that are little Ali Abdaal, Peter McKinnon, and Casey Neistat clones, and it's just mega, mega cringe. So don't do that, guys. Don't do that. Instead, steal one thing from Peter, one thing from Casey, one thing from Ali, and another 15 to 20 things from 15 to 20 other channels that you admire, right? And then you'll make a channel that's completely new. And then, add your own twist to it as well. Number 7, focus on what matters. Don't waste time on things like tags or long descriptions. They don't make or break a video. Instead, focus on the most important parts. The idea of your video is number 1. That's the number 1 most important aspect of your video. The thumbnail, title, and intro. I group those 3 together. That is number 2. And you want to have those in mind when you're making the thumbnail, title, intro, because they all kind of interact with each other and they need to be congruent with each other. That's number 2. That's the number 2 most important thing. Number 3 is actually delivering value in your video. The way I think about it is the idea is like the core of your video. You need to talk about ideas that people actually care about. The thumbnail, title, the intro is the marketing of your video. So the idea is almost like the product, right? So, if nobody, you can't sell ice to an Eskimo. If you're trying to sell ice to an Eskimo, like nobody cares about that. That would be a terrible idea. But maybe you're trying to sell them like a really good heater or something. Like Eskimos probably need, good heaters. But then you're also going to need good marketing. Okay. So the marketing needs to be good as well. And that's the thumbnail, title, and intro. And then you need to deliver on the thing that you promised them. So that would be like delivering them the product, and it's a functional product. So you need to actually deliver the value in the video. And if you do those 3 things and if you just focus on making sure those 3 things are good and kind of ignore everything else for the most part, you're going to be successful. It's just a matter of time. And these elements make or break whether someone clicks on your video and then stays on it. So nail these before you even start filming. Also, upload consistently. If you never upload a video and you never upload videos consistently, of course you're not going to have success. That's like going to the gym once and wondering why you're not buff, or going to the gym like once a month and then, the next year wondering why you're barely in better shape than you were the year before. Well, you only went to the gym once a month. So of course, right? So you have to upload, and you have to upload consistently, and you need to focus on these 3 things that actually matter. Okay. And that's the last thing, guys, which is upload consistently. Do not get caught up in perfectionism. Perfectionism is the number 1 problem I see with so many people who are starting a personal brand. Uploading content, YouTube is the example I'm using here, but uploading content. And if you're having trouble with this, guys, schedule a call with me below. I can help you with this. I've helped so many different people overcome this because YouTube is a tough nut to crack, and personal branding is a tough nut to crack. I've helped a bunch of different business owners get to 7 figures a year. I've even helped a few business owners get to 8 figures a year. And book a call with me and I can help you out as well. So if you take too long to upload a video and it doesn't do well, it'll just crush your motivation, right? Whereas if you just make sure it's a valuable video, you don't take too long to do it, and you just kind of get it done, only focusing on the things that matter, then you can consistently upload, and one of those videos is going to take off. It's just a matter of time. It's just a numbers game at the end of the day. So instead, upload regularly and focus on improving with each video. Treat it like going to the gym. Consistency leads to growth. And if you don't upload consistently, your channel won't grow. It's just that simple. It doesn't matter how good your videos are. If you don't upload consistently, your channel won't grow. When you're a small YouTuber, you have to have volume. A lot of people make the mistake of looking at big YouTubers and they're like, oh, they only upload once a month. Yeah, that's because they already have a massive audience and they know exactly what their audience wants. Okay, so they can do it. They can upload once a month and it's even better for them. But when you're new, you can't do that. You have to play the game, right? You have to play by the rules of the game. The rules that apply to new channels don't necessarily apply to older, more established, bigger channels, right? So again, guys, if you want to learn how to monetize your personal brand properly, create content that, establishes you as an authority in your niche, go ahead, click the link down in the description in the pinned comment below, schedule a call with myself or my team, and I'll see you guys next time.